Where am I? Our spaceship was set on course until we came face to face with a gigantic meteorite, sending our ship crash landed on this mysterious alien-infested planet known as Taenia Stella, a beautiful yet brutal world where flying creatures are non-existent and terrain tougher than anything I've ever encountered, faced with new challenges, new creatures and boss guardians, mixed with absolute chaos with 14 other content creators. This crash may take our lives, but it will never take our freedom. I have 100 days to survive, figure out a way off this planet and bring our captain back to safety. And so, my journey begins. That was not a soft landing at all. Let me just scratch all that dirt off my wrist. Much better. I need to figure out which direction to go to find the crash site. Wait, what is going on? Hearing a man crying out in pain was not exactly what I had in mind for a perfect landing. Veno had been devoured by these compies before he could even get to his feet. I was not sticking around in this area. I was scared, naked and afraid. These compies I knew I had to evade. I picked up a large stone and punched a tree with my bare fist. Knowing full well we cannot coexist, I now have a pickaxe. Would you look at that? I think it's about time we had a chat with those pesky compies. Oh wait, Veno beat me to it. I jumped straight in, willing to take a hit. Level 130, it broke my bones. I was almost dead. Luckily for me, I wasn't alone. It appeared our ship went down at the highest peak in the area. I'm going to head towards this mountain to the west. Further down the beach, we came across more survivors from the crash. Pterafier had entered the territory of the Sexy Lady Beach.
Sexy Lady Beach, be careful. The ladies here are vile, okay? They'll rob you. They'll straight up mug you, bro.
Who knows what else they did to him. It also appears these sexy ladies had made themselves a new friend.
Okay. Oh my god! I just got whacked!
This area is not a safe place for us dudes. Further down the beach, I spotted a peculiar looking triceratops. It was a beauty.
Hey, babe!
The sexy ladies were hanging around it also. They were friendly towards me. I said hey and went about my day. They were more interested in glowy pretty things. I ain't glowy and I definitely ain't pretty, so they left me alone. However, it did distract me for quite some time. And out of nowhere, this little officer snatched me up for his breakfast. Nightfall was now upon me. There was no sign of anyone from the crash. I was lost. All I know is I needed to head up. And this big glowy thing was my light at the end of the tunnel. Upon reaching the tippity top of the mountain, I found signs of life. Someone had been here. There were standing torches everywhere. And a sign saying, up. I was very confused. I decided to camp out here for the rest of the night, while checking out the beautiful views. Which gives me the perfect time to tell you all the mission objectives. We do have level caps put in place each week, so week 1 we will be stuck at level 20. At the end of every week, the level cap will rise by 20 levels. Week 2 will be level 40, week 3 will be level 60, week 4 level 80, and so on and so forth. And I will be setting myself a number of difficult challenges to complete each week. In week 1 at level 20, I have to kill an alpha predator, tame a T-Rex or a Spinosaurus, and tame an exclusive map variant of carnivore and herbivore. It was now morning, and still no one had joined me on top of this mountain, and I began to second guess myself. I'd come to the conclusion that this is not the crash site, and that maybe other survivors live here. So I ignored all signs of going up, and I went straight down the fastest way I knew how. I now had absolutely no idea where I was going. I was beginning to get frustrated. I did find a glider suit skin in this white drop, which lightened the mood a little bit. This will definitely come in handy later on. Don't you just love it when you're casually strolling around and then you forget you're only level 4? Whoops. I respawned and to my surprise I heard a human voice.
Oh, hi!
It was Kay and she was in the same predicament as me.
Have you found it yet?
I told her the story of how I made it to the top of the mountain and what I saw up there, but I think she was more lost than I was, which is saying something, as I was currently running around like a headless chicken right now. But being that she hadn't been to the top of the mountain yet, I decided to take her up there. Maybe now that the skies are clear, we could see where we needed to go. Once at the top, I was getting the feeling of deja vu, and what do you know, the rest of the crash survivors were now here, and I felt so stupid right now. Luckily, we have Fender and his big brain. He began making us some makeshift steps with S+ foundations and small storage boxes. With our combined efforts, we made a huge ladder to make it to the top so that we could finally go up. And there it is, the crash site. It's been a long road, but we finally made it. It seems there are a few points of interest at the crash site. With no sign of the captain anywhere, it's time to investigate the area. After a little freshen up, we found the missing piece of the puzzle inside the storage box. The captain had left us a note.
Dear Monarchs, the ship is busted. We're stuck here, but I've found a crown vault to the north and placed it down. I think that's the key to getting off this weird map. I've gone to find out, but for now, I've chosen you a base location on the metal billboard. Get yourself set up and meet me there when you can. It's dangerous out there. Make sure you're prepared. Cap.
I now knew what I had to do and where I needed to go. I now had a purpose, springing straight into action, dropping down the ladder with a billish movement.
Right, Bay, don't jump.
Ignoring MissV's cries of panic, I did jump.
No,
Well,
Bay!
that didn't
Ross
work
is trying to
like
fix
how
I don't think that was the action she was looking for. Oh, hey Fender. Shortly after I made it to the designated biome. Ooh, blue moss shops. Oh, Mejoberry to tame. Yes! I named him Chop Chop. Now that I had made myself a new friend, I felt like I was on top of the world. That was until I realised the temperature in this area was very cold. The freezing cold snapped my legs in half, and I frantically gathered hide in an attempt to make a sleeping bag. But I perished before I could do so. I spent the rest of the night running around aimlessly, trying to get back to Chop Chop. Okay then. So those things are going to be swimming around the waters around our bases. Lovely. By the next morning, we finally regrouped with each other. I know, I've missed you too. Now, time to find my base spot. Found it! I spent most of the day crafting structures, placing them down and furnishing my base, as I want to save my engram points for stuff that's more valuable. Who needs a wooden base anyway? Voila! A base fit for a king. I then had to prey on the innocent wildlife. I'm sorry fellas, but I'm desperate for hide. I made a bed and a couple of more pestles, crafted up a bow and some arrows, so I could defend myself from the nasty neighbours. It wasn't long before one came knocking at my door, but I wasn't interested in making friends. However, this Triceratops was up for making friends with me. I think. Ah, I see. Must be playing hard to get. Very hard to get. It's fine. In time, we can be friends. Day 4. Yep, that's me, running for my life. And this is also me getting eaten alive. The day was beginning to improve when I found this Pterafier in my front garden. I stood on this Lion King-like rock in hopes to safely knock it out. Save Anakin! I have the high ground!
Nope.
I realised I probably wasn't going to knock this thing out with a slingshot, so I decided to kill it for its hide instead. I took out Chop Chop to gather some berries and fibres, but it appears he didn't want to gather any of these, and basically didn't gather anything. Maybe he's having an off day. I placed down my trusty campfire and began cooking some of that parasite meat, sticking Chop Chop back inside to keep him nice and safe. I came across this beauty of a parasite that appeared to be stuck, and it was green. I quickly made a makeshift trap with S+ foundations. I really wanted to tame it so I could name him Hulk. After shooting it for what felt like hours, my dreams of naming him Hulk were shattered, and he ended up dying. After wandering the biome for anything to tame, I came across a Triceratops. It ended up only being a level 20 and it was giving me more trouble than what it was worth, so I ended up killing it for some more hide. By the next morning I finally had a roof over my head and resumed my mission of finding myself a Triceratops to tame. I wasn't having much luck, so I killed this low level one off and got ambushed by its big brother. We all know what happens next. And this one was a half decent level. I decided to take my revenge by making friends with it. I got it inside the trap and began launching stones. While gathering more stones, Pterafier paid me a visit.
Can you make a ramp?
He now became my personal cheerleader,
Yeah!
cheering me on as I knocked out my trike.
I'm out of engram points. I'm wondering if maybe you could make me 10 ramps or something like that. Maybe I could offer you a refining forge.
And honestly, I really didn't want to unlock wooden ramps. Otherwise, I wouldn't be using a trap like this. But I was feeling nice today. I agreed to make him a bunch of ramps in return for an S+ refining forge, which I hadn't unlocked yet, so it was a good trade for me after all. He sailed off into the sunset while I stood around on bodyguard duty. If anything wants to eat him, they have to get through me first, a level 20 survivor. I prevailed and he tamed up and I named him Trike Tyson. I finished the day by hunting down this green land beacon, then began hallucinating. I was dazed and confused and blinded by hues, but nothing was going to stop me from getting this new set of clothes. But before I could try them on, I passed out, face planted, and suffocated. I returned leveling up from Beach Bob to Ultimate Survivor Edition. Day 6, I woke up feeling refreshed and ready to explore the map. The day began quite well when I found this dead raptor, which rewarded me with a metal pickaxe. Naturally, his mates came for revenge, thinking it was me that killed him, but I took good care of them. Shortly after, I stumbled across some crystal nodes, and this is the first time I come across crystal. I put my new pickaxe to work, and I was finally able to make myself an awesome Spyglass. And this is a crazy mod that tells you every stat the creature has and what you need to tame them. And I've never used mods like this. It felt like Christmas had come early for me. That was until this Daedon came out of nowhere, yeeted me off a cliff, and I died to full damage. I made it back to my stuff, but the Daedon was still sat around waiting for dessert. So I served him me on a plate. Upon respawning nearby, the hallucinations began once again. I could not see a thing. The next thing I saw was a patch of grass and dirt, which I buried my face into. After numerous attempts, I finally recovered my stuff and I made it to the desert. I must admit, it was rather beautiful and it was a nice change of scenery from what I've recently experienced. After sucking oil out of a jugbug's bum, I realised I was most likely not ready for this type of adventure today. I tucked my tail in between my legs, heading the opposite direction. I set down a campfire for the night and had some time to reflect on all the great things I achieved today. The morning arrived and my adventure resumed, scaling mountains, hanging on to life by a thread. Naturally, full damage was my worst enemy. The reality of having no flyers on this map was beginning to hit me hard. Let's just say I had to improvise quite a lot. After some time, I finally reached the tippity top. There was plenty of paths to take. I placed down a storage box and stashed all my stuff inside. I opted for the easiest route, diving straight into the water below. With views like this, it almost felt like a scene from a movie. I guess it was a scene out of Piranha 3D. I respawned back at the top and grabbed my stuff. Moving on, I came across a deadly foe, an alpha raptor, and it was doing what it does best, not harvesting a corpse. I quickly crafted up some arrows. It was quite a high level, so it took me a lot longer than I would have liked. My luck was beginning to look up. No pun intended, by the way. When I found this Triceratops, a level 145, I knew I had to try and tame it. I ended the day by placing down one of my S+ Foundation signature traps. After pummeling the trike with stones all night, I finally knocked it out in the morning. This area was prone to raptor spawns, so I had to take care of him by building a few more structures around him. And now it's finally time to get my jog on. I figured I may as well be productive, jogging up the mountain to see if I can find anything else to potentially tame. Hell no! Yep, I turned around and headed back down the mountain. By this point, my Triceratops had tamed up, so I named him Michael Ceratops. The night ended in a cheeky little find, with this white drop rewarding me with a nice glider suit skin. Hopefully I actually get to use this one this time. Morning arrived and so did gusts of wind sweeping through my hair, as I was finally able to get my first taste of flying around this map. But this is ARK, pleasure is always short-lived. I landed straight in front of a Carno, and he got a good taste of me. After a while, I finally made it back to my Triceratops. Having a high level trike is great, as I can fight most threats with ease. Home sweet home. I never thought I'd say that, but I feel quite happy to be back at my thatch house. Trike and Mike were already building a strong friendship. It was at this point I realised I had a godly metal spawn right under my nose, right in front of my doorstep. The forge was filling up and I was cooking up a storm, spending a lot of time killing alpha predators in hopes to cook up a high quality crossbow, but luck was not on my side. I just could not find one for the life of me. I spent the rest of the day gathering green drops in hopes to find a Trankara BP, which was pretty much gold dust right now. I didn't have any luck finding one. Day 10 begun swimmingly. While I was still out here farming drops, I was out here practicing for the Olympic diving team. Or at least that's what it looks like. I think I need to work on my gliding skills a little. While out killing creatures for trank arrows, I spotted this high level Taenia Ravager. It was a beauty. I had to try and tame it. I placed down a bodge job trap of mine and some sleeping bags and lured it into the trap, bowled it and encased it inside. Of course, all I have right now to knock it out is a slingshot. Slingshots tend to do a lot more damage than they do torpor, so you have to be quite tactical about knocking certain things out. After hitting it with stones for a while, I had to alternate between letting it eat me so it could heal up and using the slingshot to deal more torpor damage. And this is how the night ended. If you ever wanted to see a Carno Warner's address, this is probably what it will look like. The morning arrived and I was still out here getting eaten alive. But after some precision and persistence, I was able to knock out my new friend. While it was taming up, I spent my time falling in style like Buzz Lightyear and getting my much needed steps in for the day, attempting to find some yummy treasure, but once again I had no luck finding it. My Ravager tamed up, I soulwalled him, called it a day and headed back home. The next morning I was hunting for more trank arrows and I found myself a 150 Taenia Triceratops, and this is the first time I've seen a high level. I got my trap down and then this happened. Whoa, that's a lot of damage. Okay then. This trike really didn't like my trap. I attempted to demolish it just to get some resources back, but that didn't go down too well either. After building a new and improved trap, I was finally able to get this Triceratops inside it, and could finally begin the knocking out process, which is much easier than the Ravager once he stops steamrolling my trap every 5 seconds. I spent the rest of the day and night resuming my mission, killing creatures to find trank arrows, and killing alpha predators to find a better bow, which I still didn't find yet. I was still out here killing things for trank arrows and hunting drops. I decided to sit down and wait patiently for this one, hoping that maybe if I do that, it might reward me with something I actually need. Not a blueprint, but I'll take it any day of the week. Maybe I should try that more often. My trike tamed up and I named him Michael Yeaton. Back at base, I decided to play around with the Ecos Garden mod. And I have no idea what I'm doing with this, but I could craft up a house that looked like a watermelon. But if you can have your base in a watermelon, then that's cool in my book. The next day, I woke up dead. That's right, dead, in the comfort of my own base, to a dirty Dilophosaur. This day was already going very well for me. It appears this Dilophosaur went on an absolute rampage in my base. Door destroyed by Kiah on fire. No! Chop chop, he was my house pet. Her intention was probably just to cut my hair, but after this Dilophosaur had ruined me in my sleep, I decided to employ a new guard dog. This way these wilds cannot mess with me anymore. I gathered some obsidian from the tree as I'll need this for a soul terminal, and later I finally found what I was looking for, a decent bow. It was a Robin Hood bow, but any bow will do right now. Word on the server right now was that Aron found a trank arrow BP and was willing to trade anything and everything for trank arrows. I didn't mess around, I headed straight to his house. I arrived. That is one big pineapple house. I've seen a lot of things in ARK, but I've never seen a parasite dressed up as a pineapple before. This was like winning the lottery. I stuck a load of stuff in his box that in my opinion was a good trade for around 140 tranks. Honestly, I didn't really have a lot, but he wasn't online to agree or disagree anyway. On the subject of tranks, that night I took a trip to the nightclub, and it was trippy, but I found myself even more trank arrows. The day ended the exact same way it started, with me going out in style. But at least it was on my own terms this time. I could now potentially complete my final mission, so I was scouting looking for a Spino to tame. I came across this high level raptor and decided to knock it out with a slingshot. No way was I going to waste tranks on this thing. I began to eat my own words and regret my decision of not using tranks. It ran wild over the beaches, even stones to the face were not even registering as hits. And then the classic ARK fog hit, and I couldn't even see him. I decided being stubborn was not the way to go about this, so I used a few tranks just to finish knocking it out. Shortly after, taming him up and I named him Speedy. After searching for most of the day, I finally came across that high level Spino. I placed down my trap, which is the iconic Captain Fat Dog Spino trap. Link will be in the description of the video. Our Captain makes the best traps in ARK. But do remember, I am making mine in wood as I'm not high enough to unlock stone. So we're gonna have to see how this goes. I threw all my stuff in a box and placed a bunch of sleeping bags down. It's now time to die over and over and over again. I spent all night and all morning on day 16 getting slapped around. But by midday I finally got it into the trap. I grabbed my mastercraft bow as quick as I could and begun pelting it with arrows. I had to be very quick before it damages the trap and escapes. I even tried replacing some of the wooden pillars, but that didn't go well for me. I gave up and continued shooting it. The quicker I can get it to flee, the better. It did flee before destroying the trap, and I was finally able to knock it out. ARK never felt so good. I spent the rest of the day gathering narco berries on the Triceratops to keep it asleep, and I was more than happy to stand around for the rest of the day waiting for it to tame up. It would be a missed opportunity if I didn't name him Will Smith. Day 17 arrived and so did my first smithy. Can't believe it's taken me that long to build one. It's a new week on the server and we finally hit level 40. I can unlock a bunch of goodies including reusable grappling hooks, parachutes, and finally trank arrows. And being as it's a new week, the new challenges have also arrived. I have to tame a creature that inhabits the snow biome, tame a creature that inhabits the redwoods biome, and tame a creature that inhabits the desert biome. We're going all seasons on this one. I made some gear, bullets and ammo. It was time to meet up with my fellow Monarchs for a serious meeting.
I've gathered you here for an important meeting of Bob's Bathtub Club.
It has been decided we are running our first cave on foot. There's no other way to do it. Bob had built this towering skyscraper to be used as a skydiving platform. Naturally, we usually get sidetracked. We have to test it out, see if someone could dive into the hot tub below without dying. Now that the results are in, we regrouped on top of the platform and we glided our way in style towards the castle cave. I made it there perfectly fine until I decided it was a good idea to fly down below to top up on my water levels, which was a big mistake. It wasn't long before a stinky peggo stole my pistol. Out of nowhere, two capros attempted to pounce me, and this was clarification that I was in the worst location on the entire map. Silly me realised I do have a reusable grappling hook, which would have been very helpful 30 seconds ago. I was able to start killing off these annoying creatures, and just when things were going my way, a Nick Viornis comes along and snatches my weapon out of my hand. A peggo also stole my bullets, but I can't even use them anyway. After surviving the onslaught of the most annoying creatures in ARK, there was no sign of that peggo that stole my pistol. I gave up, regrouped back with the Monarchs on top of the castle roof. We spent all night killing off annoying creatures in the castle grounds and searching high and low for a cave entrance, which we finally discovered the next day. It also appears you cannot place beds or sleeping bags down in this cave. Kiah also discovered a titanic bow that licked her into submission, and this capra was ready for its dinner. And we all know what I've just been through. I wasn't having any of it. No capra is going to be snatching anyone up on my watch. It's finally time to enter the cave, and I really wish it wasn't. First obstacle, mobs of high-level peggos.
Oh my god.
There's only one way to deal with them, and it's to stay well away from them. We hung from the ceiling and porcupined them up with our reusable spears. Next thing on the menu was a lake infested with Electrophorus and Nidaria, which didn't surprise me at all that they were in this cave. We killed a few off to clear a safe passage so that we could swim into this small hole in the ruin.
That's what she said.
Up and away! Yay, more peggos. Wait, this isn't the ocean?
Oh, he's going to sleep.
Luckily for me, there was only one, and the crew was able to drag me away to safety.
Oh no!
This reaction did not fill me with confidence at all. And now we have the Lonosaurs to deal with. With some bait and switch tactics, we actually dealt with them quite easily.
Is that Arthros?
Oh yes, mobs of capros. Why am I not surprised? The ceiling dangle spear throw dealt with those pretty swiftly. Here we all are, clenching our butt cheeks, quivering in our boots.
I'm
We are all
going.
going to die.
Yep, that's an alpha wyvern. And Bob has just ran straight in there. And I didn't think twice, I flung myself at it. I actually thought I had my crossbow equipped, so instead of firing arrows, I fired myself at it instead. Don't worry, Bob, I'll save you. Let's be honest, I wasn't saving anyone, which I guess closes out the day perfectly. The next day I was floating around in the clouds, hunting for some friends. I normally hate terror birds, which is why I was killing this one. I decided to change my mind mid-fight, figuring I'd be able to use their flappy arms to my benefit. I was running around like a headless chicken once again, after feeding it some corpses, whiffing bowlers and tranks left, right and centre. It wasn't long before I got stuck inside him and he ate me whole. I returned with a vengeance and finally knocked him out. While waiting around, I would kill off low-level Spinos in hopes to find a high level to tame. Shortly after, I came across a high-level female Triceratops, and this will be the perfect mate for Michael's Ceratops. I could already see they were getting well acquainted. It was love at first sight. Luckily, she was much easier to knock out than the Terror Bird. Speaking of which, he finally tamed up, and I named him Angry Bird. While hanging around the area, this white drop rewarded me with a new glider suit. My trike tamed up, and I named her Heather Hench. I was now able to spread my wings once again. While out exploring, I found this Alpha Raptor, and I was still hunting for a decent crossbow. Of course, you can never have a 1v1 in ARK. You're bound to get third-partied by that annoying creature waiting around for the perfect time to pounce. I survived by the skin of my teeth because I'm an absolute beast. I resumed killing the Alpha Raptor. Oh! Finally! I discovered some beaver dams in the area, so found some cementing paste. Moving on further, found some trilobites, which was a nice surprise as I had no idea how to get oil on this map. While in my inventory looking at the tasty loot I had gathered, I took a nasty bite to my ankle. Oh! Not good! Oh no. Get him! Michael! Get him! Wait, don't go too far! Yes, my hero. I was beginning to explore new horizons. Kind of gave me aberration vibes. The Megalosaurus sleeps. Looks like my assumption was correct. And then I got hit by spores, of course. Sometimes I do hate being right. Time for a never-ending cycle of death, trying to recover my stuff. Now that I knew Megalosaurus were in the area, I knew it was a dangerous spot as it was getting dark, so I decided to retreat for now, and I was beginning to get rather peckish. So I set up a campsite for the night, cooking up this whole raptor on the fire. I wasn't joking when I said I'm hungry. After camping out for a while, I got bored and decided to venture out in the night. I wanted to make the most of my time. I was desperate to find an Ankylosaurus, and I hadn't seen any on the map yet. That was until now, but unfortunately it was fighting a high-level Megalosaurus. I tried to save him, but it was no use, and it soon turned its focus on me. Let me introduce you to Michaelceratops. Michael was the perfect bodyguard for this area, as I could knock these big boys back. After some time I finally come across a high level, and it was basically 1 HP. I spent the next 15 minutes defending it from all those nasty creatures in the area. I needed this Anklo to be mine. After a while it had regained some of its health, so I decided to trap it with the billboard trap. I simultaneously tranked it while building stone structures around it. I needed this Anklo to be safe once I knock it out, which I did successfully do, and also a high level Ravager that was a beauty, by the way. And by the end of the day they both tamed up. I named the Anklo Flint Eastwood and named my Ravager Cindy Clawford. On the way back to my base I ran into more invisible freezing spores. I'm pretty sure I've died more to these things than to dinosaurs on this map. My morning was not going to plan at all. Admittedly my gliding skills need some work, but at least I made it back to base in one piece. Some might say I even made it back in 2 pieces. I spent the rest of the day extending my base and upgrading it to stone. Cindy wasn't just a beauty, she was also the Ravager that had the highest damage stat on the server, and everybody wanted to meet her. I decided to lend her to Bob for a few days, and his mail didn't mess around and jumped straight in her pants. Cindy's going to be a busy girl over the next few days. I knew those flappy wings would come in handy. Back at base, Michael and Heather also had some of their own fun. I've begun furnishing my base with the eco mod, placed down a nanny and some soul terminals. Me and Bob later stumbled upon Kay's base. Well, this is nice. After indulging ourselves in the luxury facilities, I really didn't want to go back to my own home. Unfortunately, I have to. After inviting Bob inside to help me out with the soul terminal. This is only my second time using them, I can't remember how they work. Thanks Bob, that'll do. I also found a good Pterazino saddle in a purple drop. Well, looks like I know what I want to do tomorrow. The next day arrived and the Pterazino hunt began, killing off a bunch of low levels. I came across a high level raptor and decided to knock it out. She tamed up quickly with prime meat and I named her Clever Girl. Has to be done. Oh, 140, finally. Oh, lovely. My first thoughts were to try and kill it. That plan backfired. It was time to run to the hills. Run for your life. Oh, come on, man. Just leave me alone. I want to tame a Pterazino. It's alright. Once we get up the hill, it'll stop chasing us.
Nope.
It appears this death worm wasn't going to stop at anything to munch me and Michael up for its dinner. I attempted to retreat back down the hill and have Michael follow me. Oh, come on, man, just leave him alone. After what felt like a lifetime, it appeared to despawn, and I could safely trap and finally knock out this Pterazino. While waiting around for the Pharazinos to tame up, I made good use of my time grabbing purple drops, and this one had a ring around it. It had my name written all over it. ARK didn't think so, and I got hit by spores in midair. Oh, purple ringer. I just wanted some tasty loot from you. Respawned, re-geared, reclimbed Bob's Tower of Dreams. Using my last remaining glider suit, heading totally the wrong direction, straight into freezing spores and to my demise. This was a perfect showcase of having the gear, but having no idea. And I was stressing out right now. My Pterazino was about to wake up, so I spawned at a nearby sleeping bag to feed it some narco berries, while still dying over and over and over again, trying to recover my stuff. That was until I came across this rock, or what I thought was a rock. It's actually a mushroom bush. These are special mushrooms that once consumed will protect me from the spore side effects. And this is the confidence boost I needed. My confidence was soon shattered when my grappling hook decided it didn't want to work anymore. Lovely. By nightfall, I'd finally recovered my many bodies around the map, eventually making it to my main body. Upon taking all from the inventory, I was so overweight with gear, I couldn't move. The day was definitely not a good day on the ARK. The next morning arrived, I managed to recover that long-lost glider suit, which enabled me to quickly feed more narcs to the Pterazino. Of course, I was still out here dying over and over again, eating spores for breakfast and being breakfast for wild creatures. I finally came to my senses, bringing a crossbow with me to defend myself, which was all I needed to get my gear back. It was peace and quiet. I finally had time to rummage through my inventory and drop all the stuff I don't need. Making my way back to the Pterazino, I could see it was tamed, and I named him Cuddles. We gathered some resources to take back home with us, Plus, and I almost made it back to base unscathed. That was until I ran into more freezing spores, and I wasn't equipped with mushrooms to protect me from it. Somehow I got knocked out underwater. This was the first time I finally managed to survive the spore attack. Home sweet home. After a rough few days, I decided it was time for a vacation. It is time to complete my challenges for the week. And look at Angry Bird go. It's finally time for him to show us what he's made of. Tackling the desert first. His speed was unmatched, and we made it through pretty swiftly. Upon reaching the redwoods, I gave him a well-deserved break from traveling and switched out to Cuddles. Cuddles will be able to protect me much better in this dangerous biome. It was here where I stumbled upon signs of human activity. It was Dread. It appeared to be an outpost of some kind. Ooh, a welcoming one at that. Don't mind if I do. I let myself in, using his facilities to freshen up a bit. Ready for the journey ahead. Thanks, Dread. Appreciate it. We resumed our journey through the redwoods and finally made it to the Arctic before nightfall. It was extremely cold up here. I quickly made myself a campfire to keep me warm and cook some food. Also injecting myself full of syringes to extract my own blood to use as budget med brews. It's way too dangerous to head out in the night. We will head out in the morning. The sun came up and we headed out. My goal was to tame either a high-level mammoth or Uranus. Any would do. While exploring the snowy valleys, I stumbled upon an interesting find. A crown vault out in the open, and it was owned by our captain. There was also a metal chest with a note inside. No crowns. I think they're being guarded by the alien parasites here. I'm gonna try and see if that's how you get off this ARK. If you don't hear from me again, I either made it or I'm dead. Let's hope it's the first one. So the captain was here in this area. Sounds a bit like Mission Impossible, and he's all alone. I hope he's alright. Speaking of missions, I was on my own mission slaughtering the local wildlife, hoping to free up the spawns for Uranus and mammoths. I finally came across a high-level mammoth and was able to successfully knock it out. I spent most of the day gathering resources, crafting up a bunch of structures, and building this fortress around it. I did not want this mammoth to die on my watch. There we go, safe as houses. It was getting late in the day, the heavens opened up, and it began to freeze. I took shelter from the storm in a tiny stone hut, waiting patiently for my mammoth to tame up. The following day, my mammoth was still taming up, so I went out exploring. I found a 140 Daedon fighting a Yeti. I figured I may as well try and tame it. It was a desperate battle to keep it alive, but we joined forces. Woo, teamwork. I began tranking it, and another 130 Yeti turned up. I bowled the Daedon in hopes to isolate it. It almost backfired when the Yeti ground pounded me into oblivion, but I made it back to Cuddles and was able to finish it off. I made sure he ate its corpse to heal. Time to finish off the tranking process. I have absolutely no idea where this bowler went. Pretty sure it just went poof into thin air. Love it. I returned, and I must admit, this is probably the messiest Daedon tame anyone has ever experienced. Somehow it's walked itself up to the top of the mountain, but I did finally knock it out and tamed it pretty quickly with the primate I had already gathered. I named her Miss Piggy. My mammoth had also tamed up, and I named her Nelly the elephant. Mission accomplished. Get me out of this biome. While traveling back through the desert, I was met with a 145 Taenia Thorny dragon. Cuddles lived up to his name, giving it a hug while I tranked it out. I was not cut out for this extreme heat. It may look like I'm enjoying myself, when in reality the heat has broke my bones and I'm about to perish. My thorny dragon tamed, and I named him Splinter. I was now out of soul balls, so I had to throw out Angry Bird and make our way through the desert the old-fashioned way, running into the cutest jabot I've ever seen. I bopped him on the head. He was all mine. I named him Jabea. We got ambushed by another deathworm. I attempted to bait it away from my boys, and it almost one-shot me. I ain't sticking around this time. I returned home to see Bob had left me some prezzies. Cindy had made her return and was finished at Bob's house. He'd also gave me a male ravager and a bunch of babies. I quickly put Nelly to work, gathered some metal on flint, and filled up my forges for the night. Day 31, I paid Caron Fire a visit in her watermelon house. Cindy was not catching a break. Kiah was after her for her stats. She gave me a couple of her Ravager babies to be able to borrow her for a few days, and taught me a thing or two about the awesome teleporter mod, which I had no idea even existed, by the way. This will make getting around the map so much easier. The days were going by, and I was still out here trying to find good Spinos to tame. I had no luck, but I did have luck finding a max level frog, which I tamed only because of the fact that I wanted to name him John Lick. The day ended after I discovered a creature I had never seen before. An alpha ladybug. I was hesitant about engaging it, so I fired off some pop shots, which was taking forever. I soon got bored and YOLO'd it with Cuddles, diving in and cuddled it to death. These alphas drop tributes that we most likely need later in the game. Day 32, I finally came across that high-level Spino I'd been searching for, and this time I can actually trap it with a sturdy stone trap. Well, that is if I hadn't ran out of engram points. It was like deja vu all over again, and I was getting slapped around the place like there was no tomorrow. The struggle was real, but I did finally get it into the trap and was able to knock it out. I farmed drops for the rest of the day, and with this purple ringer it felt like I had won the lottery. Day 33, my Spino had tamed and I named her Slappy. And back at base, Will Smith had a mate he could finally have some fun with. I upgraded my weaponry to that shiny mastercraft quality. I paid Fynixmech a visit just to flex my new and improved guns. I was desperate to craft myself hazard gear, as it will protect me from a lot of natural environmental hazards, and I'll be able to finally walk through spores without a care in the world. We traded my masscraft crossbow for a bunch of congealed gas balls, and I had no idea where to locate these on the map. It was time to upgrade the interior of my base, using the Eco's Garden Friends mod. I made good use of all the quirky structures including planting myself a giant garden. I placed down my own outdoor banana sofa. Unfortunately, it did not replicate the feeling I got when I sat in Kay's base, but hey, at least the inside of my base is finally looking like a place I can call home. The outside, however, is just an excuse to hide my ugly box of a building. Day 34 morning, I was sat down having my breakfast with a cup of tea in hand and was welcomed by 20 extra levels. That's right, it's week 3, baby! Level 60 challenges are coming in right now. Discover a new Taenia exclusive creature, find a giant queen bee and tame it. And I have to face my biggest fear and kill a deathworm. Unfortunately, I did fail to tame a creature that inhabits the redwoods at level 40. Oh well, Kiah paid me a visit to return Cindy and give me a male ravager. I finally got around to crafting myself a hazard suit. I was ready to wash some dishes with these gloves. Somehow only just crafted myself a fabricator and spent the rest of the day stocking up on all my resources. I'll be needing a lot of it soon enough. I also discovered this lake near Dred's base. It was surprisingly quite deep and Basilosaurus tend to spawn in here. And I hate to do it, but I was struggling for oil right now, and their corpses when harvested drop a serious amount of oil. This would last me for a very long time. Typically, whenever the level cap rises, we tend to meet up to run a new cave together, and it's that time again. New cave, new me. Nice of you to join us, Bob. Looking good, I must say. So just a couple of things to mention. It is a space cave, so 80% of it is zero gravity. The cave is full of dangers and unique areas to explore. It's also full of flying nightmares. Of course, this is all hindsight. We didn't know anything about this cave at the time. Time to leave Bob's place. One does not simply climb up his ladder without getting trolled. I returned back to the ladder in time for MissV to plant her butt cheeks right onto my face. I could already see this was going to be a good day. It was now time for the cave. Upon entering the cave, we got ambushed by 2 flying basilisks. And me being me, I don't like to run from a fight. I wanted to test out my new shiny shotgun. They were not fazed at all. The Monarks had other plans, grappling out to safety to the top of the cave without me even realizing. I regrouped with the crew just for them to watch me get knocked unconscious and get eaten alive. And it seems that once you die in one of these caves on this map, it becomes a downward spiral and domino effect, and there's no coming back from it. Help me! Yeah, I don't think anyone's saving me on that one. Kiah, on the other hand, was an absolute beast and managed to recover all my stuff, which saved me a lot of trouble. I was able to re-enter the cave for the 300th time, discovering a brand new creature named a Mega Yargo. There's a bunch of them that spawn down here, including alpha variants, and they're pretty scary looking. Shortly after the day ended for me, where I got swarmed by a mob of seekers. They seemed to ignore the other monarchs, having eyes for me only. I mean, I don't blame them, but give me a break, man. Day 36, it was time to make my base a safe haven for all my creatures and babies that I'm going to be having in the future. Please witness the construction of Badrian's Wall. The base was encased. Time to place down some finishing touches. And there it is. The great Badrian's Wall is complete. I crafted up a few awesome teleports, placing one down in my base and the rest at my favourite hotspots, so I can fast travel to them whenever I want to, one being my favourite Spino spawn. While in the area, I came across this huge, uninviting hole with green gas rising from it.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I ain't going in there anytime soon. The Spino search was still ongoing, killing all low levels, including high levels with bad stats. I was really struggling to find one to my liking. Day 38 arrived and luck was on my side, spotting 2 high level Spinos right next to each other. There was also another max level further down the river, and I said to myself it would be rude not to tame all 3. Naturally, it was a far from smooth sailing taming process. I was doing what I do best and racking up the deaths. But after a whole day of it, I did manage to knock out all 3 successfully. My downtime was spent constantly gathering narco berries to keep them all asleep. Day 39, I was still on babysitting duty. After a while, my 3 Spinos did tame up and we can make our way back to base, where they can get very familiar with each other, if you know what I mean. I now had some pretty good stats I could work with, but I did want to look for a higher damage stat. I've never really used Spinos before. In my opinion, they are one of the coolest dinosaurs. I'm hoping I could get some mutations on them and maybe use them to defeat a boss later on. Day 40, I dedicated the whole day to looting supply beacons. I desperately needed to upgrade my weaponry, armor, and find some good saddle blueprints. I discovered this sweet spot on the map where only purple, yellow, and red drops appear, and as soon as they're picked up, another one instantly respawns. The day ended quite well, I must say, finding the jackpot, the Ascendant Pump Action Shotty BP, every ARK player's favourite weapon, and I can make as many as I want to. The next morning, I came across another high level Spino to knock out. After waiting around for its torpor to drop, I pumped a load of narcotics into it and decided to go out on the hunt to search for a beehive. I must admit I did skip a few steps as I had no crops to make bug repellent, so I didn't even know if this was possible to tame. When I found one, it came as a nice surprise that it was on the ground. I built a box around the beehive using cuddles to destroy it. The bee seemed chill, but it just wouldn't give me the prompt to feed it, and its whole family and friends began harassing me. I took more pricks than a second-hand dartboard, and I just couldn't take any more. The bee had now escaped, and I was beginning to get desperate, spamming the feed button over and over again to no avail. Stop defecating bees and let me stick a rare flower up your bum. Yes! Oh, I can't believe that actually worked. After being stung constantly for the last 20 minutes, it was a relief to return back to base, where I could finally place down my beehive. Beautiful. Now all I need to do is grow myself some crops, and we'll be farming. My Spino tamed up with the best damage stats so far. I still wasn't happy with it, but I can't waste any more time taming Spinos. It'll have to do. It was time to get a production line going, building myself a water pipe, allowing me to have running water into my base. Now that is what I like to see. It's Farming Simulator 2023, baby! Crops. Currently I don't have efficient fertilizer production, so I have to make do with poo for plant food. Next thing on the list of things to do was to tame some Dimetrodons. These creatures can be used as portable ACs. I knocked out 2 high levels and had to wait a while for them to tame up, and when they did, I named one ACDC and named the other Dimitri. Air conditioners are a vital part of incubating fertilized eggs, and I'm stuck at level 60 right now. I'm not high enough level to unlock them, so these boys are going to be a godsend for me, and they're also opposite sexes, so I can always mate them together to get more if I need to. My portable ACs were working like a charm. I was finally able to incubate my Spino eggs and anything else I want to breed. They had their first baby, but it didn't take my stats, so Fynixmech gave it a flying headbutt to the face. Ooh, gas veins. Looks like Phoenix owns this one. Don't mind if I do. Cheers, mate. I also did spot 2 high-level Megatheriums, and I love me a Megatherium. It would be rude not to knock them both out. By the end of the night, they both had tamed. I named one Chewy and the other with its stats, just in case I ever fancied breeding them. In the morning, I paid Dredd a visit. He welcomed me inside and gave me a tour of his pub, where he offered me a drink. I don't normally drink beer, but you can't say no to a free drink. Anyway, it's time for us to trade.
Ooh, that's just what I always wanted.
I wasn't joking when I said this weapon was every ARK player's favourite weapon. He gave me a mate pair of X Basilosaurus. Once I stick them in my soul terminal, they will passively produce me oil, and I'd never have to worry about oil ever again. Outside were his Megalosaurus sleeping peacefully. I rudely interrupted one's sleep by jumping on top of him. He didn't like that, and he ate me whole. Cuddles came straight to my aid and slapped Dredd back into his pub. It's nice to know Cuddles had my back. After calming them down and splitting up the fight, I made my way to Veno's place, where he had a drop box full of bred equus, which we will need to tame a certain creature on this map. I grabbed my horse and headed to the desert, where I was met by my arch nemesis. And this is why I tamed myself a Megatherium. Chewy sliced through this thing like a knife through butter. I am now the new Sand King. And while out here, I did tame a few dung beetles. That's my fertilizer production sorted. While returning to base, I spotted a Veno, and he invited me over to his place. He wanted to show me something. which normally means I'm about to get trolled. However, on this occasion, I had the pleasure of witnessing a giant monkey yeet him into the sky. When I did get back to base, my wife told me in real life that she misses playing ARK with me. I reassured her that I have a solution. For now, with the S Plus dummy. There she is. Lay on my bed with Jabea to keep her company. You can't ask for much more than that. She ain't gonna be moving much from that position, but at least she's present. It kept her happy at least. I closed out the day by snuggling up to the wife. Spino eggs were now being incubated left, right and centre, and so were Triceratops eggs. And for the babies that don't take my stats, it's a trip to the chopping board, where I slice and dice them up for breakfast. Kiah popped over to trade. She gave me some fertilised featherlight eggs, heaps of Achatina paste, and a shadow mane. What? All of this just to craft her one of my Ascendant pump action shotties. Week 4 is here, and level 80 is upon us, giving me an extra 20 much needed levels, and my next set of challenges. Tame a new to near exclusive creature. Retrieve my first artifact, and don't fear the Reaper. Get impregnated. I spent the rest of the day gathering resources, crafting up a load of Ascendant Equus saddles, which I borrowed from Aron. I threw out my Equus and was able to see him for the first time. What a beauty. And I had the perfect name for him, Harry Trotter. A dangerous mission was around the corner. It was time for a serious meeting at my house. Firstly, introductions are in order. My wife has to meet the crew.
Do you know what? I'm glad you explained it, but I was getting concerned for a minute there.
Bob finally showed up, and it seems he's having a bad hair day.
Man's hit his midlife crisis.
Day 46 to 48, we were in for a wild ride. Firstly, in the kitchen. As thanks to my friends, I've just been enlightened that I've been missing out on Gordon Ramsay's recipes, and that the Eco Mod offers a cheap version of the industrial cooker. And here's me waiting around for that high level cap so I can unlock the industrial cooker, because I can't be bothered to use cooking pots. Mods be a crazy thing, you know. I'm still stuck in my vanilla ways. Anyway, enough of that. A new mission is at hand. A new cave to explore. It's extremely large and dangerous. Luckily, Fender has already placed down a TP inside the cave, so I get to skip 50% of the pain. The word is that there's a new creature to discover in this cave. And there it is! Oh, they look badass. They are called the Heterogenomosaur. Right, Harry Trotter, it's your time to shine. So the only way to deal torpor damage to these guys is by using creature attacks. The horse is great for this. The first high level we came across got itself stuck. They do have surprisingly low health, so they do need to consume a few corpses to heal. Nothing is easy in this world. We also had Reapers to deal with. Luckily, Raas was far better equipped than I was, bringing in light pet and flashbangs, so we were able to take them down.
There we go.
There are also alpha variants that spawn commonly down here, which can be killed for pre-made saddles, mutagen, and a boss tribute. Okay, that's a party I don't want an invite to, and this is why. Ah, my clothes!
Oh.
My friends weren't so lucky when on the receiving end of this attack. Bob got slammed 3 times, and MissV took it like a champ. After killing off armies of these things and rinse and repeat in the process, we did manage to tame up 4 high levels, 1 for each of us. While down here we did spot an artifact, but it was being guarded by a Reaper King. While being distracted by MissV, I saw my window of opportunity, snatching it up for my first artifact in the books.
Oh yeah, babe!
Back at base, I threw out my hetero, and I named him Jason Statham. Bob then came to visit, lending me his hetero, which was a female, which means they can go at it day and night, and we can get a bunch of fertilized eggs. Oh wow, feisty creatures, aren't they? I was also in the market looking for red gems. I haven't been wearing my hazard gear because I thought I needed red gems to repair it, and I hadn't seen any on the map. The following day I made it back to the redwoods, placing down a teleporter. Initially the goal was to make my way to the Arctic and tame up some Uranus. While passing through the redwoods I figured I'd look for a Doedicurus to tame, as I was desperate for a stone gatherer. It wasn't long before I was distracted by this beautiful green high level Megatherium. I can't say no to a pretty colour like that. I had to knock it out. Shortly after, coming across another high level one, which I couldn't say no to either. The redwoods biome is currently in an unfinished state, with no harvestable trees, bushes or rocks. It's impossible to build a trap, so I invented my own trap, utilising this open tree trunk. I will call it the Ferrazino Go trap. Bait creature inside, block said creature in with Ferrazino. Creature goes nowhere, trank at your leisure, and boom, prepare to tame. By the end of the day I did also find a 135 Doedicurus to knock out. Due to having so many creatures on the go, I wasn't able to leave the redwoods, and it seems ARK wants to keep me here another day, when it presented me with this beautiful 130 Spyglass. And this was the first time I had seen one on the map. The Ferrazine no-go trap was the perfect trap for the Violet also, not being able to go anywhere once inside. I quickly returned to base with the use of my teleporter to cook up some mutton. By this point my Doedicurus had tamed and I named him Stony Stark, and by the end of the day the Violet also tamed up, naming her Jennifer. By day 51, me and Cuddles had made it to the Arctic, placing down another teleporter so I could return whenever I want to. I did come across a level 90 Uteranus. It was a female, so I decided to knock it out. The more females I can tame, the more extraordinary kibble I can make. Later on, I did find a lovely high level mammoth with 33 points into health. And I love me a good mammoth. I knew I had to knock it out. I chose to risk it and not protect him, resuming my search for more Uteranus to tame. It wasn't long before... No! Leave my boy alone! This was just my luck. There's no way I'm taming him now. I'm gonna have to wait for him to wake up and re-knock him out. I spent the rest of the day building stone structures and making a fortress around him to keep him safe. Nightfall arrived and so did the freezing cold temperatures. Even my fur armor couldn't save me. During the night, my UT tamed and I named her Eggy. When morning arrived, we headed out once again, in search for more, killing off all low-level Uteranus. And after a while, I finally found what I was looking for, a level 145. So I quickly placed down a trap, killed off its carnage minions, and baited it inside. And this guy had a beastly health stat. After successfully knocking it out, I headed out in search for more, coming across a beautiful green one. And it was a female. I would have tamed it either way, because I love my green creatures. I would wait around patiently, proving my dominance, showcasing who the real apex predator is. And it ain't the Uteranus, I'll tell you that. Sitting around proving how tough I am didn't exactly help me once nightfall hit. I tried warming myself by getting jiggy with it, but was still unable to endure the freezing cold temperature. The mammoth had woken up and I was super hyped to knock it out again. What? Where did it go? Come on, ARK, I thought we had passed this. My mammoth. I looked high and low for this mammoth, but it simply had just poofed into thin air. I was not happy. But at least my UTs were now tamed. I named one Egg Time, and I named the high level Shaggy, who took 44 points into health, by the way. He was an absolute unit. And now had an awesome teleporter remote, which means I can teleport to any awesome teleporter that is open for business. Base getting around the map, way too easy. Back at base, I threw out the featherlights that Kiah gave me, naming them Betty Blue, Chirp Reynolds, and Finding Nemo. Day 54, me and Cuddles were out exploring when we spotted a max level 150 female Ferrazino. Ooh, should we tame you a new friend, Cuddles? He was already salivating at the mouth and could not take his eyes off her. I can't leave my man hanging. Quickly placed down a classic trap and got her inside with a little tap on the bub, knocking her out successfully. There is no way I'm going to tame this one on berries this time. I quickly returned to base to whip out one of my finest recipes. Unfortunately, I could only make 4 extraordinary kibble as my UTs hadn't laid me enough eggs, but it will have to do. I was almost able to tame her up with this amount of kibble and just finished it off with Medu berries. I named her with her stats, as Cuddles was not likely to waste any time with her, and I was correct. The next morning, Cuddles and the new female were going at it straight away. I figured it was time I began hatching some babies, starting off with a baby Megatherium, naming him Bug Repellent, 3 Triceratops, naming them Counter-Strike 1, 2 and 3, a few UTs so they could produce me more eggs, naming the one with good stats Fluffy, 2 Hillaros, naming one Alpha Meg and Rompy Stompy, 2 Ravagers named Scooby and Ravioli, and finally the Ferrazino baby named Don Tickles. I spent the rest of the day gathering food for the babies and farming resources for myself. After living in an ugly stone box for so long, I decided it was time for a base renovation. Admittedly, there's still no doorway in ARK that I won't bonk the top of my head on, but the base was done. For someone that doesn't like building, I'd say it looked pretty awesome. I now had everything I needed, including my tea making facilities, and the wife snuggled up in bed with the cuddly creatures. The following day, my Megatherium baby had matured, so I took him out for a spin to explore the unknown. While out and about, I came across this massive hole, which appeared to have a mini-like desert at the base. It looked pretty scary, but curiosity got the better of me, and I jumped straight in. It was fine up there, but down here is what nightmares are made of. When I stepped foot onto the sand, I was met with not one, but 2 alpha deathworms, guarding whatever it is I've just gotten myself into. And right now, I was the meat in this deathworm sandwich. These things were not messing around. I'll see you later. I had to retreat into what appeared to be some sort of cave entrance. Inside I found Nameless and the usual suspects that you find in caves, which was good for me because I've got my bug killer buff back. So I decided to return back to that entrance and kill the alpha deathworms for some yummy XP. Headed deeper into the cave, me and Bug Repellent got submerged in acid water, which rose up out of nowhere. I could not see where I was going. Oh no, I'm sorry Bug Repellent. And right away I suffered the same fate. I returned back to the cave in my last set of hazard gear in an attempt to recover my stuff, but another alpha deathworm had spawned at the entrance. Yep, I wasn't surviving that pounding. After coming to the conclusion that I wasn't recovering my stuff, and after the sad loss of my Megatherium, I threw out 2 more back at base, naming one stronger Bug Repellent and the other Hulk. I now have a vendetta against this cave.
I'll be back.
I finished up the day visiting MissV. She had a Spino with an extremely high damage stat.
Hello.
And I had one with good health, so we traded Spino stats. Day 59 was the day I finally realised that I don't need red gems for glider suits or hazard gear. I've been under the impression the whole time I needed red gems to repair these items, and I have tons of blue gems. Now that's what I'm talking about. Harry Trotter was not happy with the baby Spinos not taking MissV's damage stat. I spent all day in the Heterogenomysaur cave, accompanied by Dread. He hadn't explored the cave yet, so I agreed to guide him through it. We killed off a load of low levels and Reapers before finding a level 150. Knocking it out successfully and later taming it up. Gear check. Fear check. We are ready. Baby Hulk was now Big Hulk, and he was angry, with a score to settle. 2 alpha deathworms were once again guarding the entrance. Hulk smashed them out of the way. Inside, I discovered the acid pool levels would rise up and then drop back down, giving me a small window to run through without getting scorched. Deeper into the cave, standard deathworms would spawn throughout. They were no match for Hulk. Deeper inside the cave, I came across an invisible Reaper Queen. ARK is full of surprises. It seems only one spawns at a time. I was curious to see if they can impregnate humans on this map. I tried for a while before getting catapulted into an acid pool, and that was enough for me. Hulk had to smash her out of my way. I'm not losing another boy to acid burn in this cave. This cave is definitely worth running for the loot crates. Oof. That compound bow. It didn't come as a surprise to me that this was an artifact cave. Artifact of the Hunter. My second artifact. Hulk had avenged his fallen brother, and we made it out the cave safe and sound. Word on the server was that world bosses had been discovered, and we wanted to put the Triceratops in the spotlight. I placed down a billboard, stuck a load of Ascendant saddles in a storage box that the other Monarchs can help themselves to. I got myself in the kitchen and whipped up a quick recipe of sweet veggie cakes. Later on, returning to the Deathworm cave to test out my theory. This time discovering a low-level Reaper Queen, but at least it wasn't invisible. Oh, there it is! We are gonna have ourselves a baby Reaper! Oh. Sweet. Well, that wasn't part of the plan. Poor Hulk was stranded in the cave alone. I made my way back with stronger bug repellent, slaughtering everything in our path, and we made it back to Hulk, who had been attacked by so many nasties it had pushed him into the corner of this bone, which probably gave him a nice layer of protection, if anything. The day ended by placing down a Reaper birthing isolation room. Day 62 presented me with 20 extra levels. It's a new week. The big level 100 has arrived. Here are my final set of mini challenges to tackle. Return to the castle, take down the Alpha Wyvern and retrieve the artifact. Find a rock drake nesting ground and steal an egg. Get impregnated by a high level Reaper Queen. Tame a rideable ladybug and solo the underwater nightmare cave. But for now, it's time to meet up with the crew and find out if our mighty Triceratops army have the power to take down the Taenia Broodmother world boss.
What they did to the spider.
We can do this!
We got this. I'll get up on this rock.
Get him, Dread. Get him. Get him, Dread.
Holy smokes. We can't hear it, but he's beasting it.
Well, I'm just gonna jump on its.
Oh, Evil! 80 more to go!
Going down!
The trikes absolutely beasted the brood, and back at base I'm proud to say my spinos have finally taken their stats, and it's time for mutations. I threw out 2 baby UTs, as me and Fender have a little trade coming our way. Day 63 was the most unpleasant wake-up call I've ever received, with my baby Xenomorph breaking out of my ribcage. Then disappearing into thin air, I must add. I looked everywhere for this baby, including running laps around the outside of my base. I was beginning to accept the fact that creatures just like to go poof on this map. Light pets are vital for exploring this world, and you may or may not have noticed, but when I died in the Death Worm Cave, my Featherlight also died. And that is the one that Kiah gave me, and it was the only male I had. After searching for a very long time, I settled for a level 90, and back at base, the male was getting comfortable with the females in bed. I finished up the day, placing a teleporter down at the Death Worm Cave, as I wanted to be able to quickly farm this cave for loot crates. The next morning I was scrolling through my soul terminal and I spotted my long lost Reaper. I forgot these things suck up babies when they hatch. I threw him out and named him Game Over Man, Game Over. Hopped on the Charlemagne that Kiah gave me, searching around for a high level ladybug to tame. I found a 135 and tamed it right up. I won't be taming any more of these though, as I need these extracts for a boss fight, and I had to use 8 of these things to tame it. This map never ceases to amaze me. I'm beginning to notice that there are plenty of areas on the map that have their own tide cycle, just like the ocean. I only noticed this when I revisited this spot and the whole area was submerged in water. They are very strange looking creatures. I named this one Bugsy Malone. The early hours the following morning, 5 of us headed out on a mission. The map had an update, introducing a new cave and a complete new biome to explore. And there's only one way to run caves for the first time, and that is on foot. We arrived at the location of the cave. Yep, it didn't look very inviting at all.
Go!
We were about to discover that this plunge was our ticket to suicide. I have changed my opinion on the Death Worm Cave and would like to retract my statement. This cave is now what nightmares are made of. Any creature that you hate in the ocean lives in this cave, and spawning up to level 500. The whole cave is irradiated, so scuba gear is a no-go. Cryopods cannot be used to throw out any creatures inside the cave. And finally, sleeping bags or any structure cannot be placed down, which I discovered the hard way when I wasn't able to put down my trusty wooden chair, which ultimately led to my suffocation. I returned to the cave with a new set of gear and suffered the exact same fate. Third time lucky, right? Or extremely unlucky it seems for Chipzz. Jokes aside, shortly after, I died. And that was me done. That's enough of that for one day.
Maybe you haven't been keeping up on current events, but we just got our asses kicked, pal.
The next day I was standing around AFK in my base, as you do, and I came back looking like this. I looked like a clown from a circus. You couldn't tell me apart from the big guy over here. Ooh, it seems Fender has left me some presents. A mate pair of baby filers, with a note inside. Here are the filers you requested for a breeding pair of UTs. Feel free to drop them off at your earliest convenience.
Alrighty then.
Landing on top of his giant snail. Yep, giant snails can be tamed on this map. I have just never seen one before, until now. I could see Fender was fast asleep inside. Perfect. And he left his door open. Oh, don't mind if I do. Bah! That is a rather interesting way to sleep. Anyway, Fender me boy, being as you left your door open, it's a trip to the barbershop for you, mate. I'm not all that mean. I did place down a bad box and stuck the UTs inside for him. I then met up with Raas Clark. He requested I bring my own filer, so I brought along Jennifer. We were back at the Broodmother nest, and being as this is a world boss, it appears that the filer's bleed works on the brood, which makes killing it ridiculously easy.
There we go!
It seems mine and Fender's trade could not have come at a better time, as when I got back to base, I threw them both out, naming the female Claudia and the male John Rambo. Time to get rid of this terrible haircut. Much better. Day 67, I walked out the door. I couldn't see John Rambo anywhere, but I didn't know where he's gone. Then I saw a box. Something isn't right here. Something smells fishy. Your John Rambo has gone to jail. Can you get him out? What? What did John ever do to anyone? He's literally just become an adult. I didn't think twice and headed straight to the coordinates, discovering the jail hidden deep in the woods. I could see John Rambo was trapped inside, and there was another bad box with a note in it. Right, we're in. Find the code. Oh no, I really wish I didn't suck at puzzles. And these are my clues. Can you get it? 6. Last one 2. Not yet 5. 1 part 9. Have no fear, John. I'll save you once I figure out the code, which took me all day, by the way, because I'm terrible at figuring out puzzles. I finally made it back to John and we can go home. What an eventful day on the ARK. The next day was base upgrade day, beginning with an industrial smelter. After gathering a bunch of crystal, I made a grinder and placed it down outside next to the industrial smelter. Also crafting up a chem bench, then heading out to search for a snail to tame, which took me basically all day to find one. I managed to tame 2 in the end. Back at base, sticking them in my soul terminal, which will passively produce me acatina paste while I'm offline. I probably won't have to worry about cemented paste ever again. Day 69 to 71. A group of us met up outside a new cave. It's time to delve into the unknown once again. One could say we all got a bit close for comfort at the entrance.
How'd you get through?
We finally did make it into the cave, exploring mazes of narrow corridors. Looks like Aron's found something.
Oh, whoa!
What's that?
Go back! Go back! Go back!
Although it doesn't appear that way, we did man up and go back, clearing out the cave of creepy crawlies. Shortly after, we came across a pleasant surprise.
Oh my god, it's Shinehorn time!
A room full of cute little shinehorns. We all scrambled around trying to find mushrooms to tame them. Well, most of us.
Everybody gets shut the Shinehorn!
After endlessly running around in circles, we finally found a tunnel leading deeper down into the cave, where we soon discovered mega babies were a thing. This pretty much happens in every cave we go into, finding a corner to self-isolate from one another. We then discovered an underground castle. We knew we were headed in the right direction. There was a guardian angel looking out for us. The guardian angel soon retired when we ran into a big bad monster, an alpha carcanos. We weren't exactly well equipped for the situation.
We got knives, sharp sticks.
It came hot out the gates, but soon retreated back into its cave, where we believed it to be stuck. We saw the opportunity to hit it with everything we had.
I've never sorted down an alpha carcanos before, but hey, you know.
Nope.
Panic set in. We were frantically running for our lives. This wasn't the ideal time for my crossbow to decide it didn't want to work anymore.
Crabby!
During the frantic panic, I pulled Chipzz down from his ceiling, just in time for the carcanos to grab me with its giant pincers, taking me back into its cave to have its way with me. Luckily, I did manage to escape and grapple back up to the ceiling to safety.
Harry'd like bay away into his cave, man. That was horrible.
Shortly after, it retreated back into the water. At this point, we didn't have a clue what to do. After a while, it did seem to get stuck once again, and we really did just kill it with knives and sharp sticks. I never thought I'd say that when talking about an alpha carcanos, but hey, first time for everything. We made it to the artifact, recovering artifact of the strong. Once making it back to the entrance of the cave, it was time to decide who the ultimate survivor was between me and Aron, with a naked fist fight.
3, 2, 1, go!
One does not simply face off against the biggest man in the ARK and come out on top. I had to teach him this lesson.
I am the ultimate badass.
Aron then invited us over to his place, where he had built us a nightclub to celebrate the cave victory.
No.
Never going back to Aron's ever again.
Well, that wasn't a very enjoyable night out. Eat that, Aron. I'm sorry, I take it back. Sleep over at Aron's tonight then, I guess. We did finally escape Aron's wrath, and the following morning, I headed out for a spot of fishing, looking to catch myself some absolute whoppers. I've come to the conclusion that the only way I'm ever going to beat that underwater cave is with a bred shadow main. This was also the first time Alpha Mega ventured away from the base, and I was super excited to test her out. Boom! My fun didn't last very long when I was reminded that I'm not invincible when riding a gigantic dinosaur, which is normally the feeling you get when riding one. Wow, I was not expecting that to happen. Oh, my poor Featherlight. At least it was one of my backups. I made it back to my stuff and Alpha Meg killed the rest of the hostile creatures. And shortly after, I did find a high level Shadow Main to tame. I placed down a trap, bait it inside, net gunned it, placed the walls down behind it, and can now just feed it fish baskets through the wall until it's tamed. There's our high level male, easy peasy. I finished up the day catching more fish, in preparation for taming a high level female. Day 73, I returned to the cave, killing off all low levels in sight until I found a 135 female. I trapped it in the exact same way and later on tamed it up. I spent the rest of the day inside the cave killing off alpha heterogenomosaurs for their tributes, saddles and mutagen. And back at base, my Shadow Mains were ready for some fun in the garden. Day 74, I was looking to upgrade my farming methods, so I went out hunting for a Carcanos to tame. I came across this beauty of a high level, another green creature to my collection. I net gunned it, placed down my cannon, shot him in the nostril and knocked him out in a one-er. Admittedly, this is far from the best way to tame one, as I lost a lot of taming effectiveness. But this method is super quick and easy, and I just want to level up weight, so I didn't really care too much about losing levels. Later on, he tamed up and I named him Wesley Snips. And this is why I needed myself a Wesley Snips. Look at me go. He will make life much easier for Stony Stark and Flint Eastwood. Day 75, it was time to tear down some of my garden, as I desperately needed more space. I had to get rid of these giant fungal mushrooms first, they were just too big and ugly. There was no demo prompt, so I had to cut them down manually, which took a hot minute to say the least. Now that the most important jobs were out the way, it was time to meet up with Kiah and Raas, ready to explore an undiscovered cave. Dropping down deep holes into pools of water is not my ideal cave experience. Once in the water, we were met with some alpha ladybugs, and the realization kicked in that the water levels were rapidly rising. By the time we had dealt with this alpha ladybug, I was fully submerged, and I hadn't managed to consume my cactus broth. It was also at this point I knew I had messed up, but I had forgot to bring my scuba flippers. But onward we go.
Eels! Crab!
You know when Raas screams eels, you're in for a whale of a time. I returned with a new set of gear, recovered my old gear, and with the guidance of hearing Raas and Kiah's voice in the distance, I was able to regroup with them.
Help him!
It was much easier to get through with flippers. It was a relief to finally reach dry ground. Why am I not surprised the artifact is guarded by a big bad boss? The Alpha Basilisk is a mean opponent. Unfortunately for it, we have reusable grappling hooks, and he can't really hit us with his poison spit. And there it is, another artifact down, another alpha boss trophy. And we did it in style as 3 Musker throws. The early hours of the next day, a few of us met up for a new adventure. Oh, hello. Raas so pretty. Raas has discovered this cave that holds a creature that we haven't seen yet. All aboard the Shadow Main ride! After waiting around for a while to see if anyone else was joining us, it was evident that they weren't coming, so we dived straight in. And this was a first for me, I've never seen lava underwater. There was a small opening near the lava, which appeared to have air bubbles coming out of it. And once following through, there was breathable air inside. Oh! Hello. Don't mind me, I'm just coming into your house to steal your babies. A magmasaur pit. I could not believe it. As usual, things never go smoothly, especially not for Chipzz, when Fender shot him in the back with his shotgun. While taking numerous trips in and out, killing off the low levels, and using a wild Mega Shalong as a free oxygen source, we each managed to grab a high level fertilized magmasaur egg from the nest, while retrieving another artifact. There can't be many more left now, surely. The following morning I begun crafting up some air conditioners, which I'll need to incubate my magmasaur egg. My Shadow Mains were also taking their stats. You, my boy, will have my life in your hands. I named him after the cave. I can now finally hatch my magmasaur egg. Oh, what a beauty! Wow, you are a good looking fella. I know I like green creatures, but this guy is on a whole nother level. I had the perfect name for this guy. Burn, baby, burn. While on the subject of pretty things, I took some time out for myself. I decided to make myself look pretty. Now that's what I'm talking about. I finished up the day visiting Veno's vault, dropping off a load of my boss tributes. The map makers have added an update. On the horizon lies a new cave in wait, ready to be explored. On foot, of course. We wasted no time and headed straight there. One does not simply group up with the others without receiving a terrible haircut. This cave shares similarities to the hard snow cave from the island map. High level snow creatures spawning throughout. However, there are also spiders and bats. Mega babies make its return. While attempting to self-isolate, I dropped straight down into the water pool below, instantly becoming an ice cube. Not the ideal situation when you're dying from mega babies. Luckily, I managed to escape by the skin of my teeth. The self-isolation process began, but not for Chipzz. He decided he wanted to take a quick bath.
Oh, there it goes.
The ice water took his life, and I took his body to safety. Moving in further, we came across more bats. They really are our only weakness. The other being the freezing cold temperatures, which we countered with our body heat by getting cozy with each other. After powering our way through the cave, we finally reached the end, where Raas got greedy and went for a red drop, getting mauled to death. According to him, it was worth it. I am known as the loot goblin in Monarky, and I wouldn't even have gone for that drop. Shortly after we recovered the artifact, and discovered a boss terminal to summon the Fenris Sulfur boss. This came as a massive surprise. It looks like we're going to have to fight another boss on this map. After making it back out the cave, I headed out at nightfall, climbing Bob's tower, soaring through the sky in the direction of the Dragon Cave. Alrighty, it's time to take my revenge. I was able to glide past most of the threats and grapple past the demon peggos below. When reaching the infested pool of jellyfish and eels, I skipped by them all with my scuba flippers and brute forced my way through the cave with my ascendant pump action shotty, taking down every well-known annoying creature in ARK. Oh, hello Minnie, what are you doing down here all by yourself? Oh bless her, she's been stuck down here for about 2 months. If only I could take her back home with me. Well, onwards and upwards, and there it is. I tactically shot it through the open door and was able to shoot its flappy wings through the wall. It couldn't hit me with its fire breath, which made it quite easy to kill. I'm not complaining. Woo, got milk. The floor is literally lava. Good thing I have got milk. This keeps me immune to burning effects. I broke these rocks down, opening up a new path, while my poor Featherlight got roasted alive. I'm sorry man, I forgot you were on my shoulder. There was a stairwell leading further down into a pool of water. With my scuba flippers, I was able to swim quickly down to the bottom and recover the artifact. The loot goblin got the better of me, looting drops on the way out, and I found the best loot you could possibly find, the Ascendant Cloth Hat blueprint. And I made it out alive unscathed in under 18 minutes, which is a personal best as far as I'm concerned. I even had time to visit the Deathwind Cave to farm some loot crates, and also spotted a max level Reaper Queen inside. I was definitely feeling the need to get preggers. I baited it through the cave and to the entrance where MissV had made her own Reaper trap. After whittling down the Reaper Queen's health all night, she was finally ready to impregnate me. And apparently I killed myself. Oh well, at least we're preggers. I slaughtered a bunch of baby Spinos to level up my new Shadow Main. Well, here we are. This is the moment I've been dreading the most over the last few weeks. I dived on in. After killing a bunch of nasties at the base of the entrance, I soon remembered that if I take any inch of radiation damage in this cave, my Reaper babies are goner. This got me super nervous. I decided to run away back to my base, quivering in my hazard boots. I had to make a mind wipe, and I've never done this before, but I had to pump my oxygen levels. I could not risk using a scuba tank in that cave if I somehow ran out of air. I think I may have picked the worst time to get pregnant. I whipped out my teleporter remote. Now, which one is it? Satan's Butthole Cave. That's gotta be the one, right? Yep. Alrighty. Third time lucky, they say. So this cave is a huge maze. It took me quite a while to find the first air pocket. Rumor has it there is 2 artifacts in this cave, and the first one is meant to be in this first air pocket. After searching for 15 minutes, I still found no path to the artifact. So I made my way deeper into the cave. Well, that's what I thought at least. I must have been going around in circles the whole time, as I ended up coming back out the way that I came in. However, after re-entering the cave, I did manage to discover the first artifact room, which did give me a glimpse of hope. We're making slow progress. After searching for a while, I finally did come across a new underwater tunnel, which was long, dark, and dangerous. But there was light at the end of the tunnel where I found the second air pocket.
Hello there.
And this is exactly what I'm looking for in this area. And I have heard from my fellow monarchs that there is a giant rock blocking the path to the next area deeper into the cave, which appears to be true. Hacking down this rock will open up another water tunnel, leading me into a third air pocket room. This is the largest room of the 3 air pockets. I was also beginning to see rock drakes, which means I must be on the right track. Oh yay, another giant hole. Man, this has to be the final one. Luckily for me, the swim was a very short one, bringing me into a 4th air pocket room. Oh, this has to be it. Yes! The first egg I came across was level 55, which I ate to fill my belly. I decided to head on further into the cave, where I found the big bad boss at the end, guarding what appears to be the second artifact. These things are actually quite squishy. Oh crap! I'm sorry man, I take it back! Owie! I decided to play it smart and grapple up to the comfort of the ceiling. It's over, big bug thing. I have the high ground, easily killing it for its boss trophy. It also appears that the ARK gods knew that the loot goblin was in town. They rewarded me with a bunch of loot crates containing some of the finest loot, and I was finally able to retrieve the artifact of the void. While exiting the cave, I came across a 185 rot drake egg, and this really was the icing on the cake. I was able to safely make my way out of the cave. I legitimately don't think ARK ever felt so good. I never want to experience a cave like that ever again. But it's done now. Nightmare Cave was the real MVP. All of this wouldn't be possible without him. The following morning I got up bright and early to do all my house chores, gathering resources and hatching that rot drake egg. Oh wow, you are a beauty. I also named him Buzz Lightyear, as he will be falling in style. I didn't want to go too far away from the base due to being pregnant. Speaking of pregnant, I was ready to pop. Oh, here we go. I hate this part. It hurts so bad. But it's so worth it. I think I must be getting super lucky with colourful creatures this season. My Reaper was also a beauty, if that's a word that can even be associated with aliens. I named him the Grim Reaper. Day 85 also begun with a bunch of house chores. I needed to gather meat for all of my babies. I had now ran out of time mutating my Spinos, and had a decent amount of adults with the health and melee mutations combined. I was ready to amass an army, giving all my babies some cool names like Finny Jones, Albert Einspino, Luke Spinewalker, and Captain Left Hook and Right Hook, just to name a few. And I had to gather a lot of hide for an Ascendant Spino saddle blueprint, so I best get started. Kay paid me a visit to trade. She was after 20 grenades. Strange, but I asked no questions. She then took me for a ride to her base, offering me a rideable Ladybug Dominion, which I didn't have yet. What a legend. This would save me a lot of time and pain. I kindly thanked her and was off on my way. The next day I met up with Crabby for a quick trade. She gave me some Stella Ladybug eggs and some Fjord Hawks for a good compound bow blueprint and crossbow. I wasted no time in hatching them, naming one Ladybug Stella and the other Sausage. Later on, Crabby was also kind enough to give me a gacha that produces pearls, which I was desperate for as the Spino saddles were super expensive. Back at base, I threw her out and gave her the name Pearl, and I spent the rest of the day gathering stone on Stony Stark, as she was going to chew through stone like there was no tomorrow. Luckily for me and you, there is a tomorrow, and today we are going to make history. And you probably wouldn't believe me if I told you that we're about to take on the Megapithecus world boss, with a very unique selection of creatures, shall we say. My battalion consists of my original pack of baby ravagers that I never used, my original pack of raptors, 2 frogs including John Lick, my first few Spinos I ever tamed, my 2 Phyla babies John Rambo and Claudia, Michael Yeaton the Trike, my first baby Reaper, and Shaggy, my first high-level Uranus that I tamed. And the idea behind this was to shine the spotlight on the creatures that I didn't really get a chance to use in this playthrough. Well, we're going to use them now, and we're going into battle. We did it! I can't believe we did it. Admittedly, we probably won because my fighters can bleed the boss. But hey, I'm taking that win any day of the week. Chipzz happened to be passing by at the time, and even he was impressed with my army.
You've got quite the army with him.
Oh great, I'm back here again. And it seems my ladybug feels the same way about this situation as I do. This is the cave with the Alpha Carcanos guarding the artifact. It seems we are in need of another Carcanos trophy and the artifact to be able to summon the bosses. And no one wanted to venture through this cave for a second time. The one and only Bay Plays Games had to step up to the plate and take this cave by storm as a solo. But trust me, I'd much prefer if I had some friends with me. I hate this cave. Once reaching the Alpha Carcanos, I was far better equipped than the previous attempt at this cave. I brought a net gun with me and it made killing it so much easier. And there it is, the Alpha Carcanos Claw and the artifact. Don't mind if I do. Now get me out of this cave. Upon returning back to base, I dropped off the rest of my boss tributes and artifacts at Veno's vault. We now had everything we need and we're ready to take on the boss guardians of the Taenia Stella map. But of course we like to run them a certain way, and that is the Monarky way. There was only one final boss to beat, and that is the Alpha Stellar Guardian. But until then, it seems Fender and Veno have tribed up as the kings of the north, and are waging a war, which leaves the rest of us to team up and take them down. And we will be throwing at them every tame that we tame this season. And Raas has a plan to obtain a secret weapon. Looks like we're heading back down to the Nightmare Cave, which I am thrilled about, by the way. And Raas ain't messing around, he's crafted us all tech armor and a mech. It's time to tame the Ice Titan, baby! Long story short, Raas ended up taking us down into a death pit.
I hate this.
Which was definitely not the way to go.
Go up, go up, go up!
It appears the almighty mech is no match for an Alpha Tuso sandwich. I returned on my Bazzy. Dismounting here was probably not the best idea I've ever had.
I'm dead. Yeah, never mind.
I was now on a rescue mission. This place was living up to its name once again. This is single-handedly the scariest experience of my entire life, but Andy Pandy had a thing or two to say about it.
Say hello to my little friend!
Hey, 290, have that. I actually took a hit from that guy as well. I'm a boost.
After regrouping at the front of the cave, Raas was kind enough to give me another mech. Our second attempt with the mechs went a lot better. However, after trekking halfway through the cave, the mechs were too large to fit through one of the tunnel entrances. Our third idea was to use Raas's Mosasaur with a tech saddle, along with Chipzz and Phoenix riding Tusos and me riding my Bazzy as backup. We also got halfway through the cave, and the Tusos were also too large to fit through the exact same entrance. Third time lucky, it wasn't. Our fourth attempt consists of two Shadowmanes ridden by Phoenix and Chipzz. The idea was to bait the Titan around so Raas could take out its weak spots. This time we did finally make it to the end, summoning the Ice Titan at the terminal, and it did take quite the liking to my Bazzy. Too much of a liking. We weren't exactly being good bait for Raas when it kept ripping our armor off from our mounts, which wouldn't be too much of a problem if we weren't in a radiation zone, and inevitably kept dying to radiation poisoning or just getting insta-killed. I quickly returned on a Shadowmane and suffered the exact same fate.
10 HP, I'm dead.
I wasted no time in loading up my Andrewsarchus with bullets. During this time, our Mosa had taken so much damage, Raas had to retreat and was at the point of giving up. And I had a lot of bullets left over from when we killed the Ice Titan, so I figured I may as well bring them down here and put them to good use. And I will admit, I was not expecting this to actually work.
I broke it! You broke it? I broke his foot!
Finally, some progress. I found another sweet spot to shoot it from, shooting it for another 10 minutes straight, before the cavalry arrived. Raas returned with more Andrewsarchus, and the four of us pelted it in the face for what felt like 10 years. But we prevailed, and we were finally able to wield that secret weapon and tame ourselves our very own Ice Titan.
I still can't believe it, man. It's first time taming it as well.
Yep, it really was my first time taming one, and it was underwater. You can't get any better than that. Raid day is here, and it's the end of the road for Veno and Fender, I'm afraid. We've been slaving away through the night building up our fobs. Speaking of fobs, it's time to assemble in mine for some final war prep. We've set up our fobs in a triangle formation to attack from all sides. The other Monarchs will be joining us later on. And just to point out, auto turrets, explosives, and tech are banned from the fight. Time to send in the first wave of the army. We are the White Walkers, and it's time to trample all over the kings of the north.
Do it!
You think your spread is good, boy? Come on, boy! He's trying to nick me. Oh, God.
Oh, I see. I don't know if I can get the alpha in. They're around the front there.
Yeah, I got him!
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're shooting. They're shooting.
Are they?
That's it. No, that's me.
Finest!
I knew crafting Fender my best armor blueprints would bite me in the bum one day. Veno had ambushed our smaller creatures with an Allosaurus pack. It was time for Raas to bring in the big guns.
Grenades! Oh, that's that then.
Right, sweet.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh crap, yeah, they're coming! In hot!
Meanwhile, our Arthros were slowly bringing down their walls. Inside they are built on platforms in the ceiling, making it very difficult to get up close and personal, the way I like it. Maybe I did get a little aggressive on this one, as I was constantly getting shot in the back by a bunch of Velonosaurs. See ya!
Oh, we already almost got him. Or there's Crab.
After killing Fender, I could see he left the door open. I attempted to grapple up and steal the crown, but Veno had his back. Then they sent in a Titan. No idea where it came from, but with the sheer amount of creatures we had, he had no chance.
Yeah, he's dead. I sprayed him down with the Andrew.
What's he teleporting and putting it on?
Oh. I mean, he's closed the door on me. He's not happy with that. I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Baby. Oh no! Oh, he's close the door, he got scared. Come on, Fender, open that door, mate.
Which was our calling to send in our Titan.
He's smashing! Smashing!
Smash
Yes!
Once the Titan begun its wrath of destruction, Veno and Fender were nowhere to be seen. It's time to assemble the Air Force and saddle up Raas's Rhinian Naffers. We have full control of the ground, it's time to take full control of the skies. This aerial assault on the crown was far more difficult. With no easy way to get up, they had built their platform quite well. Even to the point of where my shots were just going straight through them. Or Fender had just been eating something unique for breakfast.
Man, these flagpoles suck. I just shot him in the back like 3 times.
Me and Kiah then had a genius idea.
The UT on aggressive.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Can you carry one of us on a team?
Yeah, do you want to ride this? Kiah? I'll unclay it for you. Be quick, it's going to do it now. Push. There you go. Let's go.
Yeah, you got him.
Shouty's going up for a little shout.
My boy Shouty, ridden by Kiah, were about to throw a party on their mushroom platform.
Push!
They all go.
I'm picking them all off.
Yeah.
Are they're still up there?
I'm picking all the velos off.
Nice. Velo's dropping down.
They're all coming down.
I'm coming back up.
Almost.
I'm just here.
Oh, kill it. Kill the bird.
Kill the bird.
I got it! I got the crab!
We finally retrieved the crown. Fender did make a quick return and shot me in the back. After that, he did appear to be making friendly gestures, but I took it as a sign of aggression. I put him out of his misery. Fender and Veno deemed me the most aggressive player on our team. I was nominated to wear the crown. King Bay is in his house. Must admit it looks pretty good on me.
Attention all Monarchs, it is very important that you do not kill Alpha Stella. Attention all Monarchs, it is very important that you don't kill Alpha Stella. Our lives depend on it.
The captain has made contact. We will now team up and take on this final battle together.
Monarchs! We've all tribed up because we've just heard Cap needs us, and I think he's in the bus arena, so Bay's got the crown. Let's not mess about!
We're ready!
This is it! Oh, it's a full-blown dragon!
It's got 2 balls.
Oh gosh.
Hedrow's just
What the hell was that? Shoot her! Shoot her! Gravity! What is this?
That's like the third time.
We're doing well.
Just then was fine. Gotta do with the heteros.
Oh, what the heteros?
Gotta have a hetero.
You're gonna come in with just one? Oh, you're frozen!
I hope he fires at the ledge. I don't want him. No, you're okay, Chipzz. Just keep moving. It's the most terrifying place in the whole world. Oh my god!
Back it up! Blast it with a vacuum!
Crash the suburb!
What's going on? Cap wasn't here. We was Cap. Cap wasn't here. I didn't see Cap nowhere, man.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, what's this? What's is an arrow? Come here, come here. Oh, that's what.
Let me have a
It's an
look.
arrow. Look at this.
Oh,
I said, don't kill Stella. You have caused the meteor to become unstable. Get over here. Hurry to 6550. What's in the box? Oh, radios! Oh, so we weren't supposed to fight that. Oh no.
We made a big mistake.
Mistakes have been made.
Somewhere here.
In here?
Yeah, lights. Oh, yeah. I see some lights.
There's a light. What's this?
Oh, look. There's a attack!
I'm stuck. We're falling.
Look, follow the light.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, gonna be a Bob's ass then.
I'm up, baby.
It's this slippery slide.
Can I push Aron down first? In the hole.
I must have slide.
What is this?
Has this been here the whole time?
Get the fuck off! Oh, hello guys.
Guys, as much as I'd love to chat and catch up, we really don't have time. Who's got the crown? Right, I need you to put the crown in this crown vault over here. While you're doing that, I'm going to power up this machine, which is hopefully going to get us out of here.
Once there's Dodo and a packing.
Oh, it looks like it's going.
It's working.
So in the end, the captain had to save all our butts. Killing the Alpha Stellar Guardian caused the world to become unstable. Cap had been busy this whole time figuring out a way off this planet. He had discovered a way into the parasitic meteorite and built a portal inside. Our ticket out of here. Where will we end up? Who knows?
Oh no, I'm inside of somebody's abs.
It's me!
Where are we going?
I have no idea where we're going, but I have time to find out.
Thank you all for watching, and if you found yourself enjoying the video and made it this far, please do consider liking, commenting and subscribing. I would really appreciate it. A massive shout out to my fellow Monarchs and content creators. Please do go check them out. All links to their channels will be in the description of the video and in a pinned comment. And until the next time, take care, goodbye!